last time on the Empire's Edge.
Running around, freaking out, getting ready. He's like, oh god, the feast is happening today. It's happening today. I want to task you with tracking down the nest of that lizard and seeing if there are any eggs in the nest.
As my first action as the first mayor, I nominate the name for this region of Weldon. A war to plan, my wife to frame, I'm swamped.
If I could jump them directly from sticks to bronze, I'd be a happy guy.
Arch himself is, hold, stop, don't lose. The lizards start hatching out.
Straighten up, act right, we're gonna smack you in front of your friends.
That's right, yeah, exactly.
And the yell that's coming in is riders.
Hail the riders! Who comes? Gellenhorn! What are you doing out here?
This has already been established as the banner for this region, that this is the banner then of the people and the region of Weldon. Word comes down that we're being attacked.
Grab your stuff. Let's move.
You're running in that direction. You get to what's more of a clearing, and on the far side of that, you can see that there is a number of these wasps, these big ones. At least a dozen of them are currently in contact with your people. All right, so it's taking you the better part of, like 6 rounds to get there. So in combat terms, it's an eternity. I mean, think about when you're gaming,
like a
how many rounds are, how many battles have gone on farther than like 4 rounds, 5 rounds. Then there seems to be some kind of a crescendo in sound. And at the end of that crescendo, it gets quiet.
Do we hear the buzzing?
Go ahead and do a listen.
Or a
Perception.
Inception is what I was saying.
Inception. Yeah, like watch the buildings fold over each other. Wait, what's happening here?
We have buildings out here now? 19.
Lots of them.
A 17.
So
22.
All 3 of you. Yeah, you're just holding that number.
I was definitely holding on to it.
You can all tell very clearly there is no more of that buzzing.
Oh.
Now, you also recognize that doesn't mean that they're necessarily all dead. It just means that they're no longer flying.
Yeah,
Now,
landed.
That
with
could have
that
its own.
rolling over that same listen, do we at least hear our own people? Do we still hear the sounds of
Oh, good point.
people?
Not at the moment. No,
Oh,
not
Grunts
in.
and groans of wounded, yeah.
keeping running.
Yep.
All right, so, and within the next 2 rounds, again, it's still a little further ahead of you, but you're in the same relative proximity that you can see what's happening. And there's a number of your people standing, moving around, looking at each other, talking to each other. You see one person is wrapping something around their arm. And as you get even closer at the end of the next round, that there are a number of dead wasps. And your people you've trained, you can tell, Zelen, that a couple of your druids are right here. And they turn to you and they're starting to smile. Various people with both bows and that have done various fighting with staff, spear, melee weapons,
Axes. Now that we've got the flint and the handles to make them.
They're also there, and it looks like the fight's already over. And your people you've trained have all been victorious with this.
Oh my god!
Wow! Yay them!
There are
I'm so
6
proud.
wasps. 6 wasps, and they're all dead.
Nice.
Fantastic. Any
wounded.
dead? Yeah, or wounded?
Yeah, there are a couple that are wounded, and one on the ground looks pretty bad, as though he's taken a pretty bad stick.
Yeah, I'll go to him, and use lay on hands.
All right, so how does lay on hands work with a poison? Is it just damage is damage?
Well, no. If he is poisoned, that is suffering from the poisoned condition.
Right.
If I spend 5 hit points, he is cured of that effect.
You would need to do that.
Yeah, so I can cure him of a poison and simultaneously restore up to then 15 hit points to him.
Okay, so it would probably take all of that just for this one guy.
Okay. Yeah.
He looks like he's pretty bad. Actually, he was down to 2 hit points from 12.
Oh.
And he was part of that was also him being poisoned.
Was he the only one that was poisoned, or
Yes.
Well, then I'd
was
still
poisoned.
have 5 remaining. 5 points remaining.
Yes. Then with that, everyone else that's taken an injury, and there was just 3 others, took like about 6 points of damage, and that's all that they have on them.
Total?
Each.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So
And
I
how-
can about heal up one of them.
and how much were they all at? Like, I mean, how many people were there? How many of our own crew took on?
There,
5
when
wasps.
you got
6
there, there
wasps.
was a dozen of your own people that are right there.
Okay.
And then as you get into they're talking about what happened, and they go into, and it lasts for easily the next hour while you guys are right there, and more people keep showing up, and it's being retold. You can tell that it's already starting to change from the first telling, but that the initial group that had been right there happened to have been 2 archers and 2 axe wielders of your own people. And very quickly were met by one of the druids. and everyone started lending their stuff. One of the people initially, the guy that was on the ground stung, was one of that initial group, and that more people came in, and they were either lending whatever tool they were using as a melee weapon, or a couple more guys with bows showed up too, and with such numbers.
Yeah.
And with the druid lending their ability to cast fairy fire and everything, they wasn't short order, but they'd worked through them all and killed them all. Even though everyone agrees and can see there's 6 bodies, the wasps, that the story already gets to, it's closer to a couple of dozen by the time the story.
Well, yeah, 400 were driven off. These are just ones that killed.
Yeah, I will go over to inspect the bodies and just kind of get an idea like how effective they were during their battle. Just get an idea, just to see how many hits, how bad the hits were that they were
circle
given.
around in the immediate area to see how many arrows or bits of arrows are sticking out of
I
trees.
want to see
and
how our
bushes.
people did. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can tell that a couple of arrows in each one of these wasps were right on. So they probably did a very maximum damage.
So proud.
But then as you go back to like quivers, and you're like, oh, so you probably shot about like 8 arrows.
Less proud.
Yeah. And there's also like a number of grazing wounds, almost Boris, what you would call a defensive wound. That is, they're trying to fight, trying to fend things off. They might have cut one of these things in an incidental way, or barely did any damage whatsoever. And then a couple of these things just been split open.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just like,
Good, strong axe. hits,
thorax down through abdomen, and the thing just dropped. That it was that good a hit.
So I'll give whatever comment I can with that. Like, if I recognize it, you were going with this stroke, but go with this with a flying opponent, that kind of stuff.
And
Perfect.
I'll just check in with the druids to find out, did the Last and Light spell work? Were you able to cast it? I'm going to be watching them to see if they're working healing on some of the people that were wounded.
And they're like, it did. They're talking about it, that they had their own trepidation. They weren't sure if it was going to work initially at all. They'd never done something like that apart from when they were aiming at a tree, or one of each other, and they're casting it to see how it would work. But to actually done it in that moment and were still able to do it, that they were thrilled with themselves.
Gotcha.
And they hadn't even thought about doing healing on each other until Boris came over. And one person was wrapping himself where he had a cut on his forearm.
I'll get anyone who's still ambulatory, people who are not injured, and I'll have them send them to go collect bows, or not collect bows,
Arrows.
collect arrows. If you fired your bow, you're fired.
Well, technically, throwing your bow does the same damage.
But send them to go collect there, grab some other ones, have them collect the bodies, because it's good meat and definitely a prize to
I
bring
don't
in
know.
there.
Wasp meat, probably not good meat. I've never
Comparatively,
heard
you
of
don't
somebody. I don't know. I guess
Yeah, we
any
don't hear about-
insect is high in protein, but no one talks about even primitive culture people eating
This is
wasp.
lobster.
Well, people don't eat wasps because the logistics are bad. If you had a wasp the size of, how big are these things? Shetland ponies?
Or very large dogs, something like that. Yeah,
yes, people would definitely eat them.
I guess so. Yeah.
If the Aztecs ate chihuahuas,
They said, so I just looked it up online, and it said the larvae have a shrimp-like texture.
Interesting.
so they eat wasp larvae because those don't sting.
they don't sting you.
Right.
Right? Okay, fair
Yeah,
enough,
these
Jacob. They're like, hey, round steak.
Yeah,
And we'll
Cut them into nice slices,
Yeah,
and they
sky
barbecue right up. Sky crabs, that's good.
and we'll bring those back. And then remembering the stuff that I have a task for Zellen's team.
Okay, so, and as you're doing that, Arch comes up, the mayor comes up, and he's like, again, the story's being retold, redoubled, people taking notes about it, and he is consolidating his people. And
the wasps are now being ridden by bugbears.
that he's also making it as though, and very much communicating it, driving the narrative, that the people that are here, these people of Weldon, they're the ones that did this, that they are the ones, and he's really promoting that his own people are the ones that defended themselves.
And
that
I
is
do
a
what I
pretty
can to
big deal.
support that because that's
absolutely.
the ideal.
Yeah,
I
so
want to retire here, not rule here.
So, Jacob, make a perception roll when you're in that time period with the aftermath of the fight.
17.
Yeah, so you are like looking up to see, and you do count that there are 14 arrows just stuck up in trees and branches as they were aiming high and missing, and they're just all over the place up there.
Yeah.
Just so you know, that like, oh, okay,
We don't need to worry about those.
right? They can go back
No.
and get it if they need them.
No one needs to know how
That's planning. We're gonna have a running fight at some point, and we're gonna jump
punch
up
the tree.
and and it'll down
it'll-
everybody.
So the word is being spread as you guys are getting back to the main pavilion area where all the construction is. That everyone's learning it. People are passing this word of mouth more and more, knowing it. But the real takeaway at this moment is it does seem as though these people are right at the point where they could defend themselves, at least from a threat of that level, that they had no losses. Granted, the one guy that was stung, he could have died had Boris not been there.
Mm-hmm.
But even if they had lost one person, he'd be a hero, and they still killed 6 of these things.
Though they now really have a concept of healing magic in, as well as not only can they do the fairy fire spells, but they know healing magic is a thing and within their ability. So
right, and then probably
I
the next
doubt
thing,
he would next time this encounter happens.
right. For all intents and purposes, they do now have, I think it was 4 first-level druids in this area.
Yep.
And I believe they have
Massive, yeah.
8 first-level rangers.
Nice.
And fighters, Boris, we talk about specifics of training because there are 2 different people I believe we had said or we talked about being potential paladins.
Yeah, the people helping me build a little church shrine.
And then you have, I believe it was another 8 more who are definitely fighters.
Yeah.
And then the
10,
rest.
I think. I thought I had a dozen folk.
Okay, it was 10. Okay, my bad. So there's a nice militia force here.
Yeah, good crew.
On the groundwork. So during the course of this next week, let me just roll for an encounter to see if anything comes up. But what are your plans as far as how much longer are you sticking, how much more construction you want to do, and what do you want to do in that time period? So Zelen, let's start with you.
So I'd like to establish bluebird communication with this new druid circle. So as we get further and further afield, I'm not relying on one little bluebird to make it all the way back to Warland.
The one with the big puffy head, right?
Right, exactly. And that they can also reach out to us if anything goes wrong or if they need anything or if something happens. So I want them to continue the work we started in terms of working with the red jasper that we found and understanding the stones in the area. But really, I want to establish our bluebird network.
So are you teaching them the speak with animals?
Speak with animals.
Okay, got it. Okay, so we'd said about a week of training per spell. Like we had said that they're already, they're initiated. You're just going through the rudiments of it, what to do, and they're practicing. Okay, cool. Jacob.
Gotcha. After having battled those wasps, I kind of remembered that just kind of kicking around in some clay jars in my bag, I have all those glands and stingers from
yeah.
So I
but they're nice.
yeah. So getting maybe adding the ones from this last one and then not taking them all for myself, but I want to take those glands to Zelen and her crew and see what they could potentially do during this week about maybe not. They're not going to be the most skilled, but just doing something to where transforming that poison into a paste or something that could be applied to arrows before being fired.
So making a roux and letting it
Well, yeah, making it into almost more like a cream, so it's not splashing around, but it could easily be applied.
Okay.
Yeah,
like boiling it down.
Head on, apply directly to arrowhead.
So you think on that for
as
just a
long as you're
minute,
not
but
just
some kind of
denaturing the venom,
a
yeah.
nature check. Why don't you just go ahead and give me 2 rolls on that, and just so I know about where we are with how process and time period, because it's obviously not making poison by the book rules.
Yeah,
because that's forever, but that's a different kind of thing too. We're talking more of a topical something. Like you want to have it in a container of some sort, and you're dipping your arrowheads into it.
We already have the poison. We're just trying to make it thick.
Okay.
19.
Okay, so with that 19, that you do think that in this week's time, you're not sure what it's going to turn into at the end. It'll need to be tested in some capacity. But what was the volumes that you had?
I had 7 from the previous ones, I believe. Yeah, 7 glands from
Right.
previous ones, and then whatever we were able to get from the 5 here, if any of them were
6.
mutilated or 6. I keep on saying 5.
Yeah.
Any of the 6 here, if they were mutilated or if there were any additional ones.
I actually rolled for that. I'm doing that right now. And you still have 3 of them. So half of them, the stinger area was damaged enough that you couldn't get anything out of it.
Nice round 10 total glands and stingers.
Gotcha. All right, so they're working that stuff down, and I'd said 2 rolls. What was your first roll?
3.
And that was with all modifications?
No, 6. With
so
modifications.
that you can tell that this is going to be, it's not going to turn into a poison that's typical of what their venom would be, But you do know that in this week's time, with your second roll within this week's time, you could have it into a kind of a paste that you could dip arrows into, and it wouldn't have the same effect as that venom, but it'll have an effect, and that will be deleterious to whoever's cut by it, and you'll know what that is once you get to the point where you're actually shooting it at something.
Awesome. And the last thing that I wanted to do was, while she's doing that, what I wanted to do this week was I had an idea. I wanted to find from this timber that we've been getting, I want to find a good piece and start my own project of crafting my own bow for myself.
Well, you had actually said that when we first started this, that when you found yew trees, that you were looking for different ones. So let's assume not just this week, but like 3 weeks ago, closer to 4 weeks ago, that you were looking for different yew trees and you've been scouting what would be the best, bow for yourself, you're saying?
Yeah.
So best bow for yourself you could. So you've been whittling it down because I think it takes like forever and 3 days to make a bow.
Yeah, something like that. Like at least a week, maybe more. So probably finishing up that project and
be
during
extra
this week.
fancy with it. Get bits of like bone and glue and strips of wood and make a composite thing.
Make it beautiful.
All right, so you're working on that.
I wonder if we could somehow embed one of the red jasper stones in it, if that would do anything.
I'm not sure how magic items are made in 5th edition.
I don't know.
Well, no one is, but since we're kind of like
Tell us on Twitter with hashtag unnatural20.
Love it. And since we're like forging your own direction, I think it's a great idea because that allows us the opportunity as game players and designers to make something happen later on if the thing's already there.
Yeah.
Like you're just kind of waiting to receive. So cool. Did it say anything when you're reading about Ranger and their bow making stuff, what the timetable is and what you have to do or roll? Because I don't know.
The basic crafting is just when you have downtime, you can spend your time during this available time you have.
Okay.
You can make up to 5 gold pieces of progress on an item per day.
And they're like 50?
It was 50, so about 10 days to make a bow. If you're dedicating all of your time to it. So I imagine it's probably taking me a little bit longer because I'm spending my time doing other things. Like I was
a lot of
spearheading the trading post and building and helping build a supply of arms and armor. So that way they're not just making it as needed. They have stores ready in case they ever need more.
Yeah.
If there's a big battle.
I have no problem with this, like going back in time and saying you've been working on this all this time because you had said initially that you were looking for material. So let's put that out. You've been doing so much. It'll be 30 days for you to make that. But the reality is you're about at 30 days. Like at the end of this next week, I think you're actually at your 5th week. So maybe you're done with it about now.
Awesome.
Right. So bow, homemade bow, what works? See, I'm so used to older rule sets where you had to like skill checks and everything else. It took a thing to make it. But
I just took my time, it's kind of like taking, when you have downtime, you're just taking a 20 on the roll because you spent your entire day working on it and you didn't have to, you were just being very careful with it
So that's
however it works.
It's a yew bow, and it's a bow that has a piece of red jasper embedded in the thicker part of where the grip is itself.
A yew bow with red jasper inlay.
Or red river jasper, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so and then continuing training, I'm guessing.
And continuing training, getting everything all set with
awesome.
that.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, Boris.
Yeah, I think we had already established a tannery, and we're working on that.
Yes.
So I think start producing shields, definitely armor as well. Getting them trained and acclimated with that. Beyond that, continuing the construction of like a temple shrine wouldn't need to be a big thing, but a thing would be good. And then how is their construction of like homesteads and stuff?
They used the natural stone that was they were excavating from the various creeks. The places
was it quality? I mean,
yes, yeah,
okay,
they were doing just fine putting a building together that you think that a typical bear would not want to go against.
Sure,
because
yeah.
They
so then with that, I don't think I'd need to give any special instruction in making buildings. They seem to be fairly solid with that. It's just detailing what I'd recommend they make.
Okay. What about the palisade itself? Once the trenches dug, or the smithy's done?
With the palisade both on the Mott side and the Bailey side, that it's digging a trench to this depth, levering trees in, packing it in, lashing it in particular ways. So that'll be kind of a major ongoing project for quite some time.
Yeah, you're not sure how long it'll take you to get to the Gate of the Ages and then back. It makes sense to come back this way. They could still be working on just like the first third of it or the first quarter
sure.
of it. But yeah, you give them enough instruction, you've modeled enough instruction that you think they're
I think
able
the
to go.
city wall of Krakow took like 200 years to actually make it as a stone wall.
Wow.
Did you do anything with that with the copper? Was it copper? that we found?
I think we were
was
starting the extraction. We were having the owls scout that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because I think we kind of put it on hold because that's where we found the nest of lizards, and it was something we wanted to look into, but we also didn't want to disturb that nest because we wanted to use it as a
And you're waiting for the owls to get back.
Yeah.
And Boris was trying to give at least Arch, maybe a couple of others, a handful of words in Celestial, just so they could know they're not attacking.
Teaching some basic language classes.
Copper, point with a wing. That there's this rudimentary communication that could be helpful, but might be waiting until you guys get back.
Okay.
During that time, let's say all this is happening with the week after that fight, we're getting into really about 4 weeks from the town hall meeting and about 6 weeks in this valley. So you've been here for a fairly long time.
Yeah, it's feeling fairly home.
Leaving sounds like a place or a thing you don't want to do. That during that time, Boris, you're approached at one point by Kral Hawkseer, who was just one of the women that were training. And at a different point, Zelen, she goes to talk with you too.
Wasn't she the one that submitted herself as a possible mayor?
She did. As a matter of fact, she was the only one that was outstanding and voted for herself, and no one else went along with her.
Just laugh at her.
Go ahead and roll an intuition roll.
Insight?
Insight, thank you.
Ooh, I want to add intuition. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be a nice one.
That is a 15.
15. You got the idea once your talk ended, you were working out in a garden area with you, planting herbs and making it a defined area. You got the impression she wanted to go with you when you guys leave. It wasn't clear. She wasn't asking specifically, but that's what you got. Boris, make the same roll.
I get it. She doesn't want to come talk to me. That's fine.
Yeah, she's never really interacted with you.
Oh, well.
Unnatural 20.
Nice.
Nice.
When you're done with your conversation, she doesn't even ask you. She says that when you're all leaving, I'm going with you. I want to see the door. I want to see the hole in the mountain. I want to see, you call it the Gate of the Ages. I want to see that. I've heard of it. I've seen it from the Notch Cleft, guarding the way back into the Bugbear territory. I want to see it for myself.
How far do you plan on coming with us? Do you plan on returning to Weldon?
Oh, yes. This is my home.
Good.
But I could walk away from it for a while. I have love for this place, but at the moment, I don't have love for the people.
I'm glad to have a dissenter among the people here.
Her eyebrows go up. She's surprised to hear that.
It's good to have multiple perspectives. Everyone unified in one direction can go poorly. I think you having more experience and more knowledge would be a good thing.
And gives you very little emotion out of that, and then just walks away. Anything else?
She takes concession very well.
I'm going to walk up to Boris and hey, Kral Hawkseeker just approached me, and I got the sense that she wants to come with us. How critical is she here in the training that you've done with her?
She could definitely help us as we're traveling. I'd want her here more to be a potential objector to anything going on here if something unusual were to happen. She expressed the same thing to me.
Okay.
Fairly insistently.
Yeah, I'm fine with her going as long as you don't think that her leaving will leave a gap here.
I don't think it'll be too large a gap, and I think it'll be well worth it when she returns.
Okay, and Jacob's so easygoing. I'm sure he'll be fine too.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's not bother asking
Stupid
him.
girl.
So then, is that your plan then?
Yeah,
All right,
she comes
is it
with.
time to move out?
I think we're getting about to that time, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we had anything.
When does I imagine there's going to be some sort of a
Going
not
away
a ceremony, but
Yeah.
some sort of a
There would
leaving.
be
They
three
better
more-
throw us a party.
3 more days hence that they're doing something.
I think we're in pretty good shape.
All right. So then there is. I don't want to go too much into that.
Right.
It's a like a Thanksgiving-esque kind of party. There are wasp steaks for everybody, and it's quite
Yum.
clear
The
that
corn whiskey I've been teaching them to brew.
that it's not like the day before you leave, but within the next couple of days, it's a given. And it might even be from Arch's point of view that he's doing this because he's ready for you guys to move on a little
Yeah.
bit.
Right, yeah,
He wants
yeah,
to
he wants to
consolidate
be in
that he's
charge.
the leader,
Mhm.
and people equally look to the three of you as well as he looking to him. But it's it's an awkward point. But then when you guys are ready to head out, Crawl Hawkseer has her bundle of equipment and she has her weapons and is ready to move out with you guys.
Yeah. I want to make a note before we go. I find Cert and I go and talk to him.
Okay.
So when I approach him, I present him with my old bow. I've been working on the new one with the inlay, the River Jasper, and I give him my old one and I say, this is for you. You are my star pupil, or whatever the one was. Like, you are the first one who showed interest. You have shown so much growth. You've learned so much from what you've been doing. I want to give you this. And I just give it to him, bestow it upon him.
Yeah, taken very, very well. He's ecstatic, that he's been given such a quality item made. It's either made in the Confederation of Duchies or it was made in Warland Barony, one or the other. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a fantastic gift, and everyone's looking on as just an amazing thing. Because your new bow, looks a lot like one of theirs. It's definitely tricked out a little better, and it's taken a lot more time to make. But they still look at that as one of the homemade bows that Cert got the real one. They got the real thing because yours has been the model for it all this time. And in his hands, it turns magical, and he levels up to 7th level. Dang it! How did that happen?
I want it back.
Hacks! I call hacks.
Once everyone's calmed down, all the rangers have calmed down from you giving him that gift, and they're heading their own way. Cert stays with you as he often has, and he says, Jacob, I have an idea, something to help organize and unify us, and it has to do with the banner that was brought by the captain of the Warlanders.
Check it out on our website at theempiresedge.com.
That there was a shade of blue in that banner that reminded me of a blue of one of the birds, just a blue jay, common bird, but they have a large feather in the tail and on the wingtips. I thought about us as we make more arrows, using other feathers for the two of the feathers, two of the fletchings, and then one of those blue. That would be the odd arrow that shows you where the notch is. And it's reminiscent of that we could be blue arrows, or referred to ourselves as the blue arrows, as we're out hunting, protecting our people, and it has a direct connection to the banner itself.
Blue arrows, that is so cool. Yeah, no, honestly, not necessarily crying, but you see the emotion kind of in my eyes, is seeing them.
I saw a tear.
A tear comes out. It's they are.
I'm so proud of you kids. Now go away before I have to punch you for seeing me cry.
Exactly. So just taking it even further beyond building their bows, building their arrows, but find their own sense of pride in this community.
Yeah.
What's the word we're going for? Is it going to be a city? Is it going to be a town?
Currently, it's a hamlet.
Hamlet.
Once, in a few generations, especially with people moving here, because I'm betting any half-orcs from,
anywhere.
Yeah,
Anywhere.
hearing distance will start moving here because it's a half-orc settlement. It'll grow to a village and eventually be a real nice city.
But the establishment of their own identity and creating what will definitely, in my eyes, become a tradition, referring to themselves as the Blue Arrows, that is just absolutely fantastic.
And a real sense of belonging, too.
Really?
Yeah, their own identity to it. This region, as a sub-portion of a barony, in English terms, would be a shire, but we're not going to use that because of Tolkien. So, but that is what it would be inside this whole barony.
It's fief?
We can go with that. That's fine. It's a pity we can't use shire. Shire is wrecked for the actual term that it is.
I can't let him one-up me, so I'll take one of the owl feather fletch arrows I have. I take off the odd arrow that isn't the owl feather ones, and I stitch it with the blue ones and hand him one of
cool.
my owl
it's like the
feathers
next
as well.
day or something. You work on that at night or whatever. Yeah,
I give him that as one more thing to...
Okay, now he's got a tear too.
Yeah.
Good.
having a kind of a bro moment here.
And then you've got to marry his wife, or the whole tribe will be insulted and they'll kill us. I saw that movie, right?
Yeah.
What was that? Jeremiah Johnson?
Jeremiah Johnson, yeah.
Good thing you guys spoke first. I was going to say, Pirates of the Caribbean. I've seen that.
Then, so you guys get equipment, gear, and you're heading back out.
And did I think we finished the stuff with the druids. We got the poison from that. Was there any sort of a amount of that was left over from how many jars, I guess, were we able to get?
Let's say you have a ceramic container that has what would be 10 amount to like a tie at the top, like a clip lid tie. And it'll just hold the thing down so it's reasonably secure, and it's a fairly thick ceramic, so it's not going to just shatter easily, break like glass. But let's say you have 3-ounce volume of the stuff, and you think you could probably coat probably 3 dozen arrows, dipping an arrow into it before the stuff runs out.
I'm excited to see how that interacts. Okay.
And-
Did we track down Kevin Rabbit Kicker to test the poison on?
Gotta say, these names, best part. That's what I'm gonna miss most.
Then, if you would, Jacob, go ahead and roll a survival check to pick up whatever the best trail will be, because there are no trails heading down from this point, heading further south to the Gate of the Ages.
And we are in the forest, right?
Yeah, you're just picking your way through.
Yeah, 18.
Yeah, you found your spot. You 4 are now going. It looks like Crawl, Hawkseer, has taken up the position of rear guard, just walks there, and is watching the back door of the group.
Nice.
So you're traveling. I'm going to roll just to see. You travel for, I guess the rest of this day, and you camp overnight. And in that time, no, there's no encounter overnight that way. Head out the next morning. You're traveling, let's say at least for that one day. It's like maybe even just a couple of days to move that along. You're under attack. You travel like the next day. You travel for about the duration of the day. It's not close enough to evening to make camp, and you hear it first as a sound that you've come into an area where somewhere near you, under the tree cover, there are wasps, and you can't pinpoint them yet. You know that they're here, but the proximal sound of it is changing. The intensity of the buzzing is changing. Whether they're just behind trees, around trees, with the light behind it, they're blending in with the trees. You're not sure what they are at this moment, but go ahead and roll those in at numbers.
Wasps or wasps?
I was gonna say, yeah, we just said wasps. Like, for whatever reason, that one time I pictured the small, just
wasp.
like
Yeah,
hornets,
are these
just-
mud dabbers or people eaters?
People eaters.
That's a good sigh.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I like
I
it.
hate my knit rolls. I have another bag of dice. They're upstairs in my office right now. I've got to break those out. The die I've been using for both this and our Thursday game, my knits suck.
We got to get the D20 that's the size of a calf's heart.
All right, so where is everybody?
13.
12.
22.
All right.
Nice.
So
Well,
Zelen,
fine.
22.
I didn't want to
Jacob,
go yesterday.
And then my wasps are at the bottom of the round.
Nice.
All right, so
Where they should be.
you're not sure where they are to put a fine point on it, but under the cover here, it's kind of
Wait a
a
minute.
closed area.
Doesn't somebody have to do for the other person that's traveling with us for crawl?
yeah,
Where's
it's crawl.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right,
you're
right.
rolling for
I'm
crawl,
rolling
right?
for crawl. Do you want me to roll for crawl? Do you?
No.
Really?
Well, you're going to have a good in it because she's the one doing it.
Middle of the road.
Hey.
So she has a 12.
Before the wasps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So same round as Boris.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Zelen, 22. You don't see your foe, but you can hear it. By the sound of it, there's probably 5 to 8 of them, and they're somewhere close by. You're just not seeing them with the cover of the branches that are around you.
If I can't see them, can I hold round?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that
Yeah.
such a thing?
Absolutely.
So I want to do that because then I want to cast Fairy Fire once I can see them.
Okay, got it. Jacob.
I will move, I guess, in a kind of a flanking position, looking for a good area where I'm still within range of anyone who wants to move in case any of them come to engage me.
Okay,
But
roll
we're
that as
so
an
we're not all-
investigation because you're taking in nuances of shade, sound, light, cover as you're doing this. It's not quite perception.
11, unless my ability to, survival nature thing does help me in this area.
I don't know. You're still in your
Yeah.
your
It doesn't help me with investigation rolls, but it's
Okay.
11 just flat
okay, no,
investigation.
my DC was a 10.
Oh, cool.
That as you're moving sideways, you do catch not too high above you, but in the crotch of a tree where it's a wide crotch of the tree. There's more wood expanding right there. When you move in a flanking way, you can see an edge of an abdomen that they seem to position themselves to be behind larger masses of tree until they're ready, and they're spread out in an area. They're not all in one spot. They're spread out in an arc where you're coming through. It's almost as though they have intelligence they shouldn't, and they're setting a trap.
So I call that out immediately. I say, look up. They're hiding in the trees. They're actually providing cover for themselves.
Yeah, maybe even look to the crotches of the larger trees.
And I'll notch one of my regular arrows and take a shot at what I can see of the abdomen, depending on how much
go
cover
ahead.
it is.
It has pretty good cover, but yeah, take a shot.
Oh, is it better than that?
What'd you roll?
26.
Oh. No, it is not better than that. Even with cover, that piece of abdomen sticking out, you hit.
Awesome. and do 9 points of damage.
It takes the damage. With that, its abdomen goes around out of sight. So it's out of sight right there, but it doesn't just drop out of the tree. So it's wounded, but not dead.
How's Crawl armored?
With leather armor.
Okay.
Oh, no good.
So as my action, I'm going to activate Sacred Weapon. So principally, I'm doing this for the light, that the setting sun doesn't put us at a disadvantage, because now my sword radiates 20 feet of bright light and 20 feet of dim light beyond that. I'm also getting a +4 on attack rolls with that weapon, but that's kind of secondary, as long as I can see them.
Okay, so with what Boris just said, everyone go ahead and roll a perception roll that you believe that, with a successful make for this DC, that you're going, oh, and now you know how to triangulate yourself what you're looking for, and you think with a movement at the head of your round, you probably get yourself in a position where if what he gave you was accurate, and to your understanding, that you could get one of these things in sight.
Okay.
But the move would have to come first.
13.
23.
Yeah, so both of you, and I'll roll for Crawl, that by moving, you're kind of spreading out from each other, you will be able to get eyes on one.
Yeah.
This is the same thing as kind of what I already learned with the move that I
Right.
took. Okay.
Yeah, exactly so.
And as my bonus action, I'm going to be casting... I'm pretty sure I can do Shield of Faith on other people.
Crap, bonus action spells. Forgot about that.
Yeah. And yeah, Crawl is moving at about the same time. So everyone kind of like scatters in all these skewed directions. But in so doing, everyone is able to get eyes on one of these wasps that are up in one of these trees. Yeah, Zelen did too. You rolled a 20-something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I cast a Shield of Faith on Crawl, so she's getting a +2 bonus on armor class for as long as I concentrate.
Okay, cool.
And then, as my move action, the third of my 3, I will move to engage with one of the wasps.
All right, so let me see if one's actually the one you're in.
Well, move towards a wasp.
Where that one is.
You said the third of your 3 move actions?
My third of my 3 actions.
Oh, gotcha.
Action bonus move.
Yeah.
You are in an area where you could throw a weapon, but it's not low enough for you to actually use sword.
Yeah. It's gonna have to come down here to fight me. So.
Got it. Well, provoke it into coming down too.
Well, I'm not going to relinquish the sword, because as soon as I do, the thing stops.
Got you.
Yeah,
What about, can you, I see. So you can't let go of the sword to throw a javelin.
Bingo.
Got
That's
it.
why I'm not using my good arrows, because I don't want to fire that high up, because if I miss, there's no telling where the thing's going to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Or just nails the tree.
Stunk.
Yeah. And I had to climb. I was like, dang it.
Yeah. All right. So we're down to, I think, Jacob, Boris.
So if I can I see all of them? Can I cast Fairy Fire
Yeah.
on as many as possible?
What's the range they have to be in proximity
20-foot cube.
to each other? There's a chance you catch 2.
Okay.
Do you want high or do you want low?
I want high.
Okay, I thought you rolled another 4 again. I was.
Yeah, 14. So no, you can catch 1.
Okay.
So the one you're on, or a different
Yeah,
one.
the one closest to me.
Okay, cast.
Making a note that always going to be
Last
saying
is
low
light.
whenever you roll.
Yeah,
the percentile.
right.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been rolling low on a lot of stuff. I guess for you guys, hopefully
What is this, advanced?
And then Crawl is doing the exact same thing.
Casting Fairy Fire.
No, she's moving in that way. Sees, and she is throwing a spear at one of these things.
Do we know how many there are at this point? There are 5? Is that what we said? Or have we said that? Do we know?
6 to 8. You're not sure.
6
Just by
to
the
8.
sound of it
Okay.
resonant. That's where you would gauge that to be.
Yeah, he said we could each see some of them, but I don't think all of us can see all of them.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
at least 4, because we're each moving to a different one.
Okay.
Yeah, and she throws it and hits.
Nice.
Yeah, and does damage to it. All right, and with that, they come out of the trees, and they are attacking. Each one of you have one on you that's flying to attack, and a couple of you might have another one. So it's going to be Crawl has 2 on her, and Boris has 2 on him.
All right.
All right, so they're going to get their attack in. First on Zelen, armor class.
Am I allowed to cast a bark skin? That's a cantrip. Or is that too late?
It's
The
too
next
late.
time I do it. Okay.
It's still a standard action.
14.
yeah.
It misses you, but it's engaged with you. So it's like
Okay.
thing of large dog sizes, like hovering right in front of you.
Okay.
All right, but it did miss you. Jacob, one's attacking you,
17.
and it hits you. and you take 5 points of damage. Make a DC con, make a con save.
Ooh, 8.
Failed. You take an additional 3d6 points of damage. And
Ouch.
that is 15 points of damage.
Ooh,
Ow.
Where are you now?
22.
And then one's attacking Boris. And first on you, Boris, armor class.
18.
Hits you.
Oh.
Wow. So I'm no longer rolling low.
This you missed the squishy one. You hit the 2 that can supposedly take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of an amazing thing. Let's see. And damage is going to be 9 for the initial attack. And then you have a save. Con save.
Don't fail it. It sucks.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I remember from last time.
Oh God. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could take one more of those hits.
That is a 12.
You make it by 1.
Oh God.
The DC is 11 on
Nice,
that.
yeah.
And so this is half damage. And I rolled so low.
Oh my God. you rolled 2 6s and a what? Like
2 6s and a 3. And on this I rolled 2 2s and a 1. So I guess
I feel singled out.
maybe a round up or round down on that one.
Typically round
down, yeah. So 2 points of damage on
Alright.
that, yeah. So very different, yeah. Second one
Sucks.
is attacking you, Boris.
Yep.
And misses. Ooh, I was
Nice.
1 facet away from a 20. And then attacking
And remember, Crawl's armor class is 2 better from
2
Shield
better,
of Fae.
exactly, yeah. So is attacking Crawl, and that's a 15. Missed
Nice.
by 1.
Nice. Good
You-
use of Shield of
you
Faith.
Yeah.
helped her. And its second one, hits. Hits in a definite way.
Okay,
And-
so the 2 melee people have 2 of them on them each, and then
Right,
we each
yeah.
have 1.
And she takes 6 points of damage, and she has to make a save. And, she makes it.
Nice.
Yeah, she makes her save. Yeah, so half damage
I'm
on
just feeling
that,
inadequate now.
and rolled more toward that Jacob side. That was 12 points, so 6 more. So she just took 12 points of damage. That's a bit hurty for her,
I guess it's also my fault that I failed to save. So
I guess. And
Yeah.
then top of the round, Zelen, we're back to you.
So as a bonus action, I'm going to cast Shillelagh, but then I'm going to cast Barkskin on myself, which puts my armor class up to 16.
Okay, got it.
that's all you got, unless you're gonna move.
Am I allowed to run?
Well, if you exit
Tactical error.
exit.
Yeah.
Okay, never
Yeah.
mind. Nope. I'm standing firm with
Good.
my glowing stick and my bark-like skin.
And got a glowy wasp right in front of
Yeah,
you, too.
so the
And a
2 of us
glowy
are
wasp.
shedding all kinds of
There's
little
all
right.
kinds of light there.
There you go.
Jacob.
As part of a move action, I am dropping my bow and drawing my sword.
Okay.
Bonus action, casting, what's it called? Hunter's Mark on the wasp engaged in melee combat with me.
I call it Hunter's Mark.
Yeah, what did I call it?
You said, what's it called?
Oh, yeah. Ooh, and a 23.
Hits.
Nice. Is this the one that I shot with my bow?
Yeah.
Cool. Can I borrow a d6?
Yeah, go ahead. Grab one.
I can't see it. There we go. Oh, get off the table. Nice. Yeah, that'll get you for stinging me. 12, 14,
This is bad for the
19.
wasp. Dead. Yeah.
Yay.
So that wasp is dead.
Stupid
Now,
wasp.
I shall grab my bow and fire into combat. I love fighting
Because
for
we
this.
can.
Because we can.
No, that was me switching to my sword.
No, I'm saying like your
Oh.
next round.
Yeah, now I
What
just gotta
happens
pick up my
next,
bow.
Yeah. And then Boris.
Yeah, it was my melee combat you're firing into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Attacking with sword. That was a D8.
I was gonna say, like, what in the world?
Skipping right to the end.
I'm anticipating a hit.
Yeah, no kidding. That is a 27
Yes,
armor
that's
class.
definitely a hit. Yeah. Yeah, their AC is a 12.
I rolled the same thing.
Yeah.
9 points of damage.
And let's see, was this one
Actually,
hit yet
I will
before?
expend a spell slot and make this a divine smite to do another.
Was this the one that you already hit?
I already hit one.
No, he hadn't hit
Oh,
one.
never mind. No, I'm the only
News
one.
to me.
Okay.
Yeah, you spending a spell slot to divine smite to do another 9 points radiant, so 18 total.
Dead. That
Good.
was it. It took
That's
that
my
one.
favorite kind.
You have one on you. What's your favorite wasp? The edible dead kind? And then Crawl is attacking hers. And she has pulled an axe made from the,
Nice, yeah.
the natural tools that are there. She misses.
Oh,
Bummer.
Darn. Yeah. If it had been the fairy fired one, she could have hit that. She actually missed by 1. Oh
which one's had fairy fire?
The one
just
on-
the one that
fighting.
she's on. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then wasps. Okay, so first the one on Zelen. Rolls a natural 2 with its plus. Definitely misses.
Fairy fire and bark skin.
There is
That's why I didn't need to cast Shield of Faith on you, because he wasn't going to attack you anyway.
there, there is none on Jacob at
He
the
wants to
moment.
go canoeing with you
Only
later.
one kayaking.
Whichever.
But, there's only one on Boris, so one attacking Boris. Rolls a natural 19.
I'll get him in a bit.
And you take 5 points of initial damage and roll your save.
What I get for having a...
Con save.
You're gonna remember that for later.
Yeah, right. Another 12.
And you made your save, so this is
Yay.
half damage. And I rolled 11, so 5 more points of damage.
All right.
The one attacking Crawl. And oh yeah, that's a modified 20.
Oh.
What kind of 20 was it?
Unnatural. An unnatural 20. And so she is hit and takes it. Ooh! Max damage, 10 points of damage.
Oh my
bad
gosh,
does she
how many
look?
does she,
She
have
looks
left?
really bad, yeah. That and
Oh, her
and
adventure
then
might have ended
her
so soon.
Aren't there 2 on her?
save, yeah, that's the same roll she made last time.
There you go.
She makes her save for a half damage, and she takes 3 more points of poison damage.
Oh my gosh, the village will not be happy if
No, right?
Well, teach him to speak out against the government. We'll take you into the woods and you'll never come back.
Yeah, she looks really, really bad. You don't think she could survive another round of that? That would be it for her. Top of the round, Zelen.
I'm going to swing my shillelagh at the one on me. And that is a 15 with 22 unnatural.
Yeah, definitely a hit. Good hit.
And that's a D8. Is that what this looks like?
Yep.
That's
Yes.
it. Yeah, that's that one.
8. And 6 points of damage.
It's taken and still definitely combative.
Are there 2 on Crawl or just the one?
2.
Mm.
And then Jacob.
Gotcha. Picking up my bow, notching. What's the right
Knocking.
word?
Knocking,
Yeah.
yeah.
Knocking a owl-fletched feather and firing at the one.
I have a healing word bonus action. Am I allowed to do that?
Sure.
So
You couldn't see that at
Only
home.
because you had a minor epileptic.
You may have
But
heard.
the little dance she did.
You may have heard her bracelet jingling around. That was a full-on.
And take a potty break.
So I'm going to do a healing word on crawl on
Is that a touch or is that a range thing?
range 60 feet.
touching
Yeah,
him with
you
your
got that.
word.
A creature of your choice that you can see within hit points equal 1d4 plus your spellcast modifier. I'm going to do it at a second level spell. The healing increases 1d4 for each slot above first. So that means I roll 2d4s, right? Is that what that means?
That's what it
Yes.
sounds like, yeah.
And
3d4, and there was a plus. What was the plus based upon?
Your spellcasting ability modifier.
Okay.
So that's 4 plus my spellcasting ability modifier is 7. So that's a total of 11.
It can't be a 7.
Yeah,
Right.
it's your wisdom modifier. That's
Oh,
yeah, what you just listed was
5.
yeah.
So
Okay.
that's
That-
9 points
Okay,
given
yeah,
back.
I bet it
that's
helped
great.
her, yeah.
Yeah,
a,
that's
that's
7
a big
is
help.
plus your proficiency bonus.
Okay.
Okay, so 9 better to that. That's great.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, great round.
Gotcha. You want-
Okay, Jacob, you grab your bow, you knock an owl-fletched arrow.
Yeah, firing it at the one engaged in combat with her, marking it as my quarry with a bonus action, and 23.
Yeah, and do you want to remind people listening what those owl-fletched arrows do?
Yes, the owl-fletched feathers are, 24, because the owl-fletched feathers are a +1 to hit and advantage on the next attack, assuming it's still alive.
Right.
Whoever makes an attack on it. But I'm rolling 3 dice. And I rolled very, very poorly. 12 points of damage.
And you shot at which one?
The one that was attacking Crawl.
He has 2.
Oh, she has 2.
Right.
Whichever one she'd already been damaging.
Okay. And how much damage?
12, I think is what it said.
Oh, yeah, that
12.
killed it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when she already hit.
Nice.
Yeah, that killed it.
Something advantage on a corpse. I said that last time.
I'm sensing a running joke here.
All right, so there's still 3 of them left. One is on Zelen, one on Boris, and one on Crawl.
Okay.
And it is Boris's action.
Yeah. paladin shenanigans. I'm going to risk the attack of opportunity and move to engage with the one still on crawl.
Okay. I'm rolling my attack of opportunity.
Yeah, and you're going to roll like a 3.
Give him some credit. It's going to be a 4.
I
No,
think
it's going to be a 3.
I think it's going to be a 17.
Definitely going to be a 3.
Oh my god!
It was a
It's a
3.
three,
Woo, love it.
Okay, Boris the Divine called it.
Speaking
it's a 3.
of the being.
Yeah, right?
Misses,
And
if I
then
needed
I'm
to say
going to
it.
blow apart this other wasp. Oh, 22, I'll take that.
Oh, yeah,
And I will
that
Divine
works.
Smite it just
definitely
to be
hit.
thorough.
Okay, roll your Divine Smitey and damage.
Yeah, because that's my last spell slot.
The equivalent of calling shots in pool.
Yeah,
It's
except...
a lot more difficult. Like,
Yeah.
1 in 20, you're getting that one right?
We were talking about playing craps with D20s. How much
Right.
that would be so
Yeah,
difficult.
Can I
So-
steal a D8 from each of you?
Yeah, I got 2 of them here.
Oh, sweet.
That's why I gave you
Yeah!
3
Wow,
3
You
8.
just rolled max
That's
damage.
awesome.
Okay, so that
With
is...
You won't be getting the stinger out of this one.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
32 points of damage.
Good.
Is the other one afraid? Doesn't
no,
the other one
they're
just
not-
fly
they're not
away?
like
Well, I don't know. They're intelligent. They were doing for an ambush. Maybe they're able to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll get
so
to that in a
that's
second.
16 radiant, 16
Totally
slashing.
splashed. Zelen, from where you are and that's happening,
And
I put my dice down and they both landed on ones.
use all the mojo right out
The
of it.
magic's gone.
Zelen is probably like a good 80 feet away from you are, engaged with that one that was on crawl. You guys moved off to one side. And she still got hit by some of the splatter from that wasp, with you rolling 3 8s on 8-sided dice. What are the odds? I mean, that's just incredible. Yahtzee.
Yeah, right, no
Better
kidding.
than Yahtzee. Okay, great.
Mega Yahtzee.
So I think we're down to just 2 of these things. It's Crawl's round, and she's probably going to address some of her wounds at this point and not cross the battlefield to engage.
Isn't one of
somebody
them still on her though?
else. No, one's on Boris.
yeah, he just,
you
he
used
just
the high one.
demolished
I
that one.
ruined the one that was still
Got
Was
it.
on her,
Okay.
and Jacob killed the other one that was on her
Because
it's a bad way.
I'm a paladin.
2%.
2%. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Yeah, pretty incredible. All right, so that's Crawl's action, is to bind her own wounds, and then it is the wasp on Zelen. And I rolled a natural 2.
That's either at least 2, but if not 3 natural 2s to hit her.
It's because he loves me.
Yeah, it's like somehow the energy just goes the wrong way when as the DM, I'm attacking my wife's character. I just I don't want other repercussions. So.
Hacks. I call hacks.
Jacob's sitting over at half of his hit points. Like, this isn't nice.
Yeah, but that was one facet on the die away from a 20 on this particular die.
Yeah, so
All right.
very intense energy. It just tends to tip
Just
one way.
to tip the wrong way for the
From the creature's
monster.
perspective. Yeah.
And then the other one is on Boris.
Yeah, I'm assuming moving to engage again.
Yes. And it rolls, let's see, that's a modified 15.
18.
Yeah. So it misses, but it is engaged with you. Jacob.
Gotcha. How many
1.
wasps were less?
On Boris.
Oh, just the one? Yeah.
Oh,
No,
no,
I meant
okay, one
there's-
is one on
yeah,
Zelen.
there's
too.
I'll
one.
fire at that one.
And it's Zelen's round first.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
That was a good point.
It is.
All right,
Zelen.
I
you
am
are up.
swinging with my shillelagh.
Oh.
Ooh, and I almost dropped it.
Yeah, you brandish it in a lovely way. Jacob.
Now I'll fire on that one.
Okay.
And it has been hit.
It has been hit. Okay. Hit hard. Now I'll just fire a regular arrow at it. Bonus action, marking it as my quarry.
You're still getting advantage because it's got fairy fire on.
That's that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
cool. Okay. And the other one, say 21 to hit.
Definitely hits.
Cool.
Yeah, armor class is 12 for these guys.
Kill it.
Nice. 19 points of damage.
Destroyed.
Yay.
Yeah. Zelen said. Excellent. Boris.
All right, yeah, and attacking last one. 26 versus armor class
Hits, definitely.
for 12 points of damage.
And it is destroyed.
Oh, nice.
It had 11. That was the weakest one of all of them. All right. They're all dead. Crawl doesn't look that great even still. She's
Right.
much better than she was with Zelen's spell. But she's definitely sitting down at this point.
Yeah.
You don't... Actually, everybody do a listen.
Is that poison like a reoccurring thing, or is it just that one time?
Or does it apply the poisoned condition?
It is a one-time.
Okay.
As far as I know, that's all I wrote down on my sheet. is
Good.
one.
I'm good there. That's fine.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'm not going to question.
It's just
Something gift
there's
horse.
conditional. There's conditional if you get down to 0.
Okay.
But
16 on a perception.
Perception.
15.
8.
the two of you, and let me roll for Crawl if you've been paying attention. Carl's not even paying attention.
She is
to it.
preoccupied with
Yeah.
the stinger through
So-
her abdomen.
Both Jacob and Boris, you realize, or you're aware that there are none of the telltale of what these things move, because you're also picking up now with how that combat went that there was also a sound on the bark as these things were moving off of the bark. There's a certain like scratching to it that for Jacob, for you, it's unlike a squirrel. Boris isn't like anything you've heard before.
I
but
hate squirrels anyway, so I just hear that and I think kill.
but they're delicious. But it's another telltale for all of you when you're listening for these things, when you're aware of them, that you could probably pick them out a little faster, even though they're hiding this way. But you're both very certain. Jacob, you're doubly certain. There's none within hearing range.
Gotcha.
But it does seem interesting that you're finding them. Both the encounter that happened back at Weldon and this one, it was about the same numbers, and you're just distance away. There might be some kind of a weird organization happening with them.
But we noticed
that's
them
not
preparing
good.
for an ambush when we got here. Is there any sort of a role we can make to try and gauge from that they're so organized?
they're, like,
themselves?
evolving or
give me
something.
a skill. What are you looking at to try to make a determination?
I'll use survival, just knowing kind of animals in general and the way that they hunt.
Go ahead and do it.
Yeah. 11.
You're not sure that it seems like that's probably the case, but you're not sure what piece of data to codify what might be happening.
Anything
If we're
else?
talking about it, can I
Yeah,
can I make a similar roll or the same roll?
Is
So
there
he's
anything
talking
unusual
through
about
my
the
thought
forest
process.
generally?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, are they all on the same type of tree? Are they?
Yeah. Anything
so
that
make-
could be an unusual thing with the forest.
Actually, Jacob, why don't you roll it again?
Oh, that's a good
and
idea.
we'll treat this second roll as though you got advantage
Gotcha.
from Zelen and everyone else's input.
Much better. 21.
It's assumed or maybe expected that various insects have won't be like a genetic memory, that they've learned something over a long period of time. It could be they're drawing on some kind of a genetic memory that's preservation for them to organize themselves. Maybe they're making new hives, and this is the number they send out, or they're gathering together to try to form a new hive itself. And the distance could correspond to an area that a hive, to whatever's in their head, would say, this is the space we need to maintain our hive.
Okay.
And beyond that, it doesn't seem to be a magical thing, but it does fit an element of nature that when one goes off in a direction and tries to form a hive, it takes others with it. It could just be that.
Okay. So share that with y'all.
Is the sound distinct enough that we could describe it to a bird and send it back to the village or the hamlet or whatever you decide to call
we
it,
could
so
d-
they could be aware of it as
We
well?
could describe it using relationship terms to like other things it may sound like, but as far as being able to hear it without actually having heard it themselves, I don't know if we'd be able to say.
Well, they would have heard it. I mean, they would have
The
heard
Weldoners know.
At least the ones that were there in combat know.
Yeah. So
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
yeah, there'll be a fair population.
But that is you
So
could send
bizarre.
back that they seem to be organizing not like in ones, but in like half dozens. That seems to be like how they're bunching themselves up. All right.
I will. Actually, we're all probably about to take a long rest anyway, so I see no particular reason to use lay on hands on anybody.
yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
you might
We're
just
all
like
about to.
camp right here.
Yeah, sure.
And
Well,
I
the
do-
food's right here.
And I do go retrieve that one. Well, the 2 arrows that I fired, but at least getting back the feathers from that
Right.
one. That
Okay.
So you're gonna, when we long rest, you're gonna
Nice.
regain your hit points. So I don't have to do anything for you, right?
Yeah, no, I should be
Yeah.
good.
I
Yeah,
was
I'm
rolling
gonna
it as a
hit points and
DC.
spell slots.
What his success was, and I rolled a natural 20 for the first time in the day.
Yeah.
That helps Jacob, right?
That I
So
get all of my
you
arrows.
got all of your arrows back.
Perfect.
That's fine.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
So you guys camp here, and during that time period, there is no encounter overnight. You're all feeling
Good.
marvelous the next day.
Yeah, I bet.
You go through your morning routines, etc. And Jacob, just roll a survival check to pick up whatever trail you think is going to lead you back toward the best route.
I think I'm sleeping in today.
Okay.
That would be a 10.
All right, so you take them in a direction, and let me just roll for the next few days, because it'll take days to get far enough south. And over the course of the next 3 days, you don't have any encounters, but Jacob, you first make a survival check.
I can do that. We're still my favorite terrain. Like we haven't left the forested areas.
That's correct, but that's what this is all about when it comes to terrain.
24.
Yeah, that's great. And as he's stopping and looking, it might even be just enough of a visual cue for you, Zelen, that you've been picking up on something unusual too. So I'll also make your nature check.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob, the canopy seems to be no taller than what it was, but it's more dense. Like there's more leaves up high, and you're just aware of that.
And as we're walking, it's getting darker, kind of a...
Yeah, just slowly, but so incrementally that you weren't really aware of it until you thought, gosh, it's kind of dark.
Is the ground softer? Like, is it like peatier?
Yeah, lush or looming.
Yeah,
right.
It's not lush, and that's what you're becoming aware of, and you too, Zelen, that very thought that the leaf density is really thick, and there's very little growing beneath the canopy, unlike like in a jungle or a rainforest where there's so much growing down
I don't
low.
like the sounds of this.
Specifically invoking like scent. Is there any sort of a smell that would give off like rot or anything?
All the leaves. Yeah, without even having to roll anything. There's such a leaf layer that's been building for such a long time that seems to have been very little disturbed. It's just falling down and rotting. Like you go into the woods anywhere and pull the leaves away, you're going to get a thin little humus layer. That it's what's with all the chickpeas under here?
For those unaware, David, the
I
actor,
hate hummus.
hates hummus. Yeah,
So this is the natural environment to find hummus. Like,
hummus
look at this disgusting. There's a layer of it on everything.
and it's buried. What are we in Tim's backyard?
Inside joke. So again, you realize that nothing's disturbing these leaves. They fall and they rot. There's nothing growing up that's actually pulling that nutrient out of the ground apart from the trees themselves.
No, like mushrooms, fungus, none of that kind of stuff?
There is that kind of
okay,
stuff too. Yeah, exactly so. But
They're thriving, I'm assuming.
And you see like a tree that's fallen, its trunk is there, but you don't see a lot of like newer trees. If you go hiking in the woods anywhere, you'll see an upended root ball, you'll see the branches and dead leaves. Nothing like that. It's almost like a tree would die standing and eventually just rot, and eventually its trunk would break off.
Zelen,
Let me say this last thing. By the second day when you're doing this, but you're really taking notice is on the second day after the combat, that you notice that the canopy is every bit as dense, but now the trees aren't even as tall. And it was another one of these incremental changes that the canopy is getting closer to you. The trees are more stunted, every bit as thick in the canopy, and the same kind of rot down at the ground level. So anything else you guys want to check or determine?
I'm going to activate Divine Sense.
I was going to ask you guys, you're more magically inclined.
It indicates the presence or absence of fiends, celestials, and undead within 60 feet, but it also alerts me to the presence of like consecration or desecration. So what I'm wondering about is like the taint of evil here that, are we about to stumble across something very bad?
Gotcha. So initially, 60 feet around you, you get no hit on is there any of those things present to you. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to like a taint of evil, nothing like that. But even without being aware of nature, the way that these two are, you get the idea that it seems like this whole forest is dying.
So I had rolled an 18 nature, which would be a 22 survival. What are the animals doing? Am I seeing the same kind of presence of birds and, the little rodents that run around, spiders that you can hear in the leaves? I mean, what is that dying too?
Well, as you're aware of it with that roll, so again, we're saying this is an awareness made on the second day after the combat with the wasps, that it's been a while since you've seen a bird. You're actually looking around thinking about it. It's like, gosh, I haven't seen a bird in a long time. And with that, you're like, I haven't seen a rabbit or a squirrel either. I haven't seen much of anything. What you do still see are insect life. You are seeing spiders.
Okay.
You'll see like an orb weaver, in a tree somewhere, and you go, okay. So there's that kind of life. You will see a trail of ants going up and down a tree, but nothing beyond just insect life in this area.
So if you guys are okay, I'd like to just take a little time and cast the ritual of detecting magic. So as we move, I can just kind of keep it going.
I think it's worth it just to get an idea, because nothing is jumping out at us immediately to see why it's like this.
No, nothing like that at all.
Yeah. No,
so I'm just gonna cast it and keep it going while we move, so that we, if just to trigger if we can get a magical sense about something that's happening here.
While she's doing her ritual, while she's sitting there and doing the meditation for the 10 minutes, I'll just keep an eye on the area around us, because it's just kind of very unsettling.
Keep watch.
Yeah.
Getting a bit moved out. Yeah.
Zelen, once you've finished with the ritual and you've cast that, And initially immediately you get a very large hit close, just a little further south, like within 30 feet of you, you're getting a hard magical hit.
So I'm going to definitely share that with the group.
Yeah.
So as you all spin in that direction, you see two things almost immediately. One, you can see what looks like a piece of a ruined wall. And it's like out here in the middle of this forest, it seems just bizarre to see like a low kind of knee-height wall that just runs for 5 or 8 feet, but that's all there is.
Good thing we stopped for detect magic because we just tripped over it as we were.
You would have noticed it in a moment had you
Okay.
not stopped right here at this point to ask all these things. And then as you're aware of that, you can see beyond it, there's other evidence of the wall. As the ground slowly rises, just as a slight grade, you can see there's other evidence as though there was larger or more buildings in this area a long time ago. But right at the edge of the wall, you see an ancient-looking woman who just has stepped out from the edge of the tree. She looks in a weird way happy to see you. She's all alone. She's wearing threads, emaciated, old, wrinkly. And as she smiles, she looks to you and says, "I've been waiting for you. I'm glad you're here."
Thank you for listening. Enjoying our story? Share our podcast with a friend. Want more background on the world we adventure in? Check out mattsinkovich.com and theempiresedge.com. Be a member of the podcast on subscribestar.com/the-empires-edge.